When you look back at, when you got famous by talking about the MMR vaccine and some of the links or potential links to autism, you were here, I think you were at the Royal Free Hospital, which is literally down the street from where I live. When you look back to all of that, do you look at it differently now? Would you have done anything different? Were you glad that you went out there and put it out there for the first time really on a grand scale at the public, that there were potential links here and that people really needed to set up and take notice? And are you surprised that it might have taken 10 or 15 or 20 years for people to finally realize that there was a lot more truth in what you were saying than they realized at the time?
Yes, it was an interesting time, and I've been asked this question many times, would you do the same again? And I was confronted with a choice. I came to a crossroads, and the crossroads was this. It was, who do I work for? Do I work for public health? I was an academic gastroenterologist. I ran a research team. My interests were inflammatory bowel disease. The choice was, do I work for public health and the pharmaceutical companies, or do I work for that child and that mother sitting across the desk from me telling this tragic story of what happened to them? That was an easy question to answer. My training in medicine was deeply rooted in the belief that the patient comes first above all things. I can't be compromised. There is no ambiguity about that. That is my job, whatever the consequences might be. And that doesn't make me brave or clever. It just means that that's what I signed on for. And I wasn't about to change that. The dean at the medical school said to me, if you continue this vaccine safety science, it won't be good for your career, whatever the merits of the science. And that turned out to be absolutely true. But there were certain things people said to me at the time, colleagues of mine who I worked with, pediatricians, pediatric gastroenterologists, who said, Andy, we cannot be seen as pediatricians to question the safety of MMR. What did that mean? That wasn't a scientific viewpoint. That wasn't a medical viewpoint. That was a viewpoint from how will we be perceived by our colleagues at the Royal College, or when we go to meetings, if we take an issue with the safety of MMR. And that appalled me. I made me even more determined to do the work, I have to say. And for me, Brian, it's been a privilege. It's been an absolute privilege looking after these families, working with these families and the children over the years. It's no hardship to Andy Wakefield. It's no hardship. But I remember I was down in West Texas one night. It was completely black. The sky was completely black. There's no ambient light at all. I looked up at the sky, and there were billions of stars. And I looked down and I thought, the universe isn't really interested in Andy Wakefield. This is not about me. This isn't about me. They can say what they like in the media. They can call me what they like. It's not about me. This is just a sort of ruthless pragmatism that if you challenge our position and our profitability, we're going to destroy you. But it's not about me. And once I realized that, it was a huge weight off my shoulders. I was able to then get on with the job unfettered, and it was a real revelation. And it led me into filmmaking, which I love, and because people understand film, they understand the movie. You can now condense all of these extraordinary stories I've heard over the years, the whistleblowers who've come to me with data and tales of terrible things being done in industry and government, and I can turn those stories into film and present them to the public in a way that is relatable, that they can understand. That's the challenge. That's the fun of making movies. But for me, it's been, I used to occasionally feel sorry for myself, and I'd look at the next child with autism and I'd think, I don't have a problem. That little boy's got a problem. I don't have a problem. So get on with it. And that's where we are now.